Welcome back to the program. Michael Jankins here. He's the attorney, bankruptcy attorney, to give you some advice on what to do if you're in a position where you need to file a bankruptcy. And we get down to one of the more basic questions, Mike, is about what you need to gather.
When somebody comes to see me or is thinking about calling me to find out about bankruptcy, I usually assume a couple things. I assume that the person is having difficulty with their debt. At least I like to assume that. Most people, when they think about bankruptcy, think this is a vehicle I can use to help me with my debt problems. I'm not so sure that premise should be something I think about all the time, because people come and call me and I want to come and talk to you about bankruptcy, and I say, okay. And I ask them, well, can you tell me a little bit about your debts? Who do you owe? I'm not sure. Well, how about the biggest one? I just really don't know. Why are you calling me? And well, I just know I need to clean this stuff up that's out there.
What do they think? It's like an Etch-a-Sketch where if they go get a bankruptcy, they can just take it and then just shake it over their head and then just remove all the debt?
Well, obviously, if they're coming to you, they're so over their head, they're obviously drowning at this point. So, but you're saying you need to have some things in order for you to be able to help.
Well, I mean, a lot of these situations, these are people who have old things floating around, and they're out there. They don't know what they are. They're not really things coming after them, but they have this feeling that, well, I just know it's out there and I need to get rid of it and start out fresh.
Do you think if they ignore it, it'll just go away?
Well, they've been ignoring it for a long time. That's part of it, and it hasn't gone away. They go, well, I tried to get a car loan and they wouldn't give me financing. They said my credit was no good. So that doesn't tell me a lot. So it's really important that you be able to put together some information if you're going to call a bankruptcy lawyer about who you owe. So if you're not getting the bills in the mail anymore, which kind of happens after you haven't paid them for like 2 years, then
oh, really?
The next thing you ought to do is, if you can't remember them, go to the places that have the credit reports. We always recommend annualcreditreport.com because that's the best place. It's one location that will then provide you all three of the credit reporting agencies' reports from Equifax and Experian and TransUnion. It'll have the most detailed information about your debts, and so you'll have this and be able to talk about it. If you don't get it from there, because there's a lot of questions they ask, and sometimes it's kind of difficult to get them online from that website. Even I have difficulty getting them for clients sometimes, and we have to mail out for them. There's also a website that everybody probably has seen commercials for called Credit Karma. Right. So you can go to creditkarma.com, and I found that it's very easy to get access to the information that's on there. It's not quite as detailed as the actual credit reports from the agencies, but they do make available the reports or the information contained in them from the TransUnion company and from Equifax. So again, you can at least try to print it, or some folks don't have printers and they come to my office and go, well, I have it on my phone, so at least they've got something to talk about.
Right.
And gives you a starting point.
And we can discuss some debts. It would be like if you go to the doctor and you make a doctor appointment and you get there and the doctor goes, well, what's bothering you? And they go, well, I don't know.
I just don't feel right.
I don't know what.
And well, the doctor wants to know, I mean, do you have pain someplace? Well, it's kind of like with your finances. The pain is these debts, and so you need to identify them so that we can kind of be like doctors and fix your finances. So that's really important. The other reason it's important is because just because somebody has some debts out there doesn't mean bankruptcy is necessarily the best option to deal with them. Bankruptcy is a very strong legal tool. I mean, it can completely erase an unlimited amount of debt from $10,000 to $10 million. So you want to make sure when you're doing it, you're sort of getting some bang for your buck. It's something that you can only do once every 8 years.
That was my next question. I said, if you plan on doing this, you're not going to be able to do it for a while.
A long time, and so there's no legal amount. It's kind of a judgment call based on the individual's particular circumstances. I mean, a single mom that's making $7.50 an hour, if she's sitting on $10,000 of debt, that's a pretty big deal for her versus some single working guy making $50,000 of debt, or $50,000 doesn't want to necessarily get rid of $10,000 of debt with a bankruptcy, unless there's some other things going on. So it's important to know these things. We like to kind of know them going before before we even set the appointment, so we don't have a person come in who says, you know, I've got $2,500 of debt. Well, that just wouldn't be appropriate because when you factor in the costs of filing the bankruptcy, they're almost getting nothing for
So
the debt.
what is an average cost or something like that?
Oh, you know, on average, my fees typically, you know, on an average case run $900 to $1,000, and then the court filing fees $335. So someone's going to be paying $1,200 to $1,300. That's fairly typical in the Des Moines area. I mean, some people more, some people less, and it just depends on the case. But so you want to be knowing what the situation is, and if you have a lot of debt, that's great. I mean, for wanting to do bankruptcy, that's what it's for, and we just want to make sure, you know, we're going to have a good discussion when you come in for this hour consultation, and that we have something to talk about. So know that.
Now, one of the other things that I noticed that you mentioned that you need to know what your debts are, but you also need to know what is coming in. Like what your income is too.
Yes, that's another really important consideration when calling the bankruptcy attorney, because income is important for many reasons, most of which there are income guidelines in determining whether you can have a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, the kind that erases your debt. If you make over a certain level of income, depending upon the size of your family, the people that are in your household, you may not be able to have a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. So at least know how much you made the previous year, or if you've been at your job for a while, know how much you make an hour. I talked to people that called me last week, and I asked them, how much did you make last year? You just recently filed your taxes. I'm sure you probably looked at your W-2 form. Well, I shouldn't have been so sure, because some people don't.
Right.
Some people don't even hang on to their pay stubs.
Well, I was going to say, some people just hand it over to someone else to take care of it, and you don't always know. So know some numbers before they call you, so they can get things straight. And if people do want to call you, where's the best place?
Well, you can call me on my phone number at 255-1855, or you can find me on the internet at www.iowa-bankruptcylaw.com.
All right, the easiest way to get a hold of you. Well, wonderful. So great information. So if you have a situation that might require bankruptcy, this is the guy that you want to call. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Good to see you.